Aloha, offline sharks. Welcome to the Aloha Friday Marketing Jam Session. I'm Tom Gaddis, my business partner, next door neighbor, best friend, the guy that comes before my mom on speed dial, Nick Ponte on here too. Man, super excited you guys are here to join us. We got a great show lined up for you. We actually roped in a special guest. I meant to mention that to you yesterday, Nick. I was like, oh, maybe we should bring a guest on. And then I saw you made it happen. So that's awesome. Awesome. Well, we're excited to get started with the show. So I am going to cue up the intro and we will see you in just a few seconds.
Are you ready for the fastest 60 minutes of local marketing strategy, tactics, tips, and fun on planet Earth? It's now time. The moment you've been waiting for. After 167 agonizing hours, they've returned. Broadcasting live from their island retreats, smack dab in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and now back for a brand new Sharks Live show. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
You can get the sound effect of the clapping back. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. We appreciate everybody being here. It's awesome. I see people are starting to come in. You can throw us an aloha, a hello in the comments. We'd appreciate that. What's up, Richard? Says, hey, Sharky Sharks. I don't know who this is.
Man, I had something I wanted to tell Richard the other day. Richard, I'm going to remember.
Yeah. Oh, Cameron in the house, watching from the wings.
It's okay.
Bryant, welcome. Aloha. I hope everybody is staying warm wherever you are. Hope everybody's staying warm. I see people filing in now. That's awesome.
Zach, Mark, Gary, Tie-Dye Digital.
Everybody's in the house. This is where the movers and shakers hang out on Friday.
It's true.
Too bad we can't have like appetizers and Maui drinks on this, huh?
Yeah. What's
Wherever
your favorite?
Fire up a Mai Tai. Join us for the show.
Would you say that your favorite drink was a Mai Tai out of all the drinks and everybody listening?
Nick, my favorite drink is the next drink, bro.
That's a good answer. What's your favorite tropical drink, everybody? I don't really like them, honestly.
I've never been a tropical drink fan ever.
Yeah. I would be more of a like a martini or a old fashioned kind of guy.
Yeah, me too. It seems like a waste to put all that other flavoring in there, dilute it down. Why would you do that?
Kristen says margarita. Those are pretty good. Margaritas are pretty good.
My wife loves the margaritas.
Yep. Well, oh no, I was gonna say when I came over the other day with my dad, they had margaritas, but those weren't quite margaritas.
No, those were just straight tequila.
Yeah. Elle started laughing when I said that.
I guess it's sort of a margarita.
Yeah. The foundation. We'll just call it the foundation.
Yeah, the foundation. Yeah. We went and had dinner at for Valentine's Day. We had dinner at Spago's here at the Four Seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good. And my wife got some drink. It was called the Indecent Exposure. What a great name, huh? Indecent Exposure. But it was like a smoky margarita. She loved it. She had a bunch of them. Yeah. She had a bunch of them. Yeah, awesome. Well, excited you guys are all here for the Aloha Friday Marketing Jam Session. We got a great show. We've got some of our normal things we're going to kind of go through here in the beginning, and then we've got a special guest we're going to be bringing on a little later. Look, Zach says Vanilla Crown. We riled him up talking about alcohol, Nick. Yeah. I don't know where Nick went. He stepped away for a second. Oh, there he is.
Thinking about showing what was in here. Just a quick highlight reel for all of our friends. Look at these things. 1, 2.
Hold them up a little higher.
Well, I don't want all the
oh, you don't want all the info there. I got you.
But look at this, you guys. Look how many checks we collected yesterday.
Woo!
That
it gets me fired up.
Look at that. 1, 2. How many are there? 1, 2.
There's like 8 of them there.
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that You guys, the stuff that we're doing with our appointment setter is pretty crazy. We're working on it. We're working out flushing things out, but obviously it's working pretty well. So
Yeah.
we're excited to share that at some point soon here.
And we will be sharing that at some point soon here.
Yes, we will. We will.
Yeah. Awesome. I see cameras.
And you know what the nice thing about that is, Tom, is it like a lot of the things that we do, you know, we find these ways to compound whatever it is we're doing, right? So regardless of what service you're selling, if you're just doing ads, if you're doing direct mail, if you're running, you know, PPC ads, whatever, an appointment setter compounds all of that. It compounds all of that. So, you know, for us, it's just another way to make stuff happen. And I think Adil's asking what we're doing. We're gonna get to that, Adil. We like to really test and vet everything that we're doing before we bring it out. So that's kind of where we're at now. But as you can see, it's working pretty well. So we're working on, you know, fine tuning everything so we can share it with you guys in a little bit. But you know, as we mentioned, it just the cliff notes of it is that it works really well and it compounds everything that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, what's really great about it is, one, I think it does a couple of things. Like, I don't know how, well, I mean, I sort of know how Nick is, but I know for me, like, prospecting is something I always struggle to do consistently. And so being able to bring someone on to do that for me so that it just happens, whether I'm in the mood to do it or whether, you know, I'm motivated to do it or whatever, is great. And then the other thing I think that's a real eye opener is how little of it you actually need. Like, you don't need a big team, right? And you don't need somebody really doing it 40 hours a week. Like, you can make some serious inroads and impact with as little as, you know, 5-10 hours a week. So really awesome. I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited to share it. I've been working on it in the background, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome when you guys see it.
Gabriel says no reveal today. No, not today. No, but we have something else for you today that we're going to share with you that, of course, goes really well with this too. And you know, like I said, compounds everything that we're doing. I mean, who was on that training the other day? Who was on the training the other day? You put a 2 in the chat if you've been on that, if you were on that training with us, because we walked away from that training, or while we were on that training, we were like, holy crap, we need to implement some of this. Already are implementing some of this. I'd say everybody in the office has gone through a good portion of all that stuff, and yeah, a lot of really good information. So that's what we're going to talk more about today too. Of course, we're going to give away a bunch of money via Cash App. So you guys want to hang out with us? We're going to, Tom, I think we should give away a little more money than normal, just because I'm feeling a little generous. Today.
Oh, well. Are you at an 8?
I'm not at an 8. I'm at a 7. Every day's a 7 for me.
So every week we do a little in-office huddle, and we always have to do a scale of 1 to 10 how you're feeling for the week. And Nick is always a 7, and I'm always a 13. So
we balance each other out. What can I say?
Yeah, balances it out. Awesome. Cool. Well, before we get to our guest and diving into what we talked about on that, because that training was really awesome. Like, I mean, I got so much from that. And yeah, so we're going to talk about that a little more. But before we do that, oh, I like that. Look, Gabriel says, Cake, Cash App Killer Expert.
That's me. I'll take that title.
Yeah.
The GOAT of Cash App.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so let's get a couple of our standard show things out of the way, because as you guys know, we love to celebrate, if I can talk, celebrate the shark successes that we see over the past week leading up to the show. We always like to start the show off with that. Give a big shout out to everybody that's taking actions, doing things, making things happen, which is just, as always, is amazing to see all the stuff that's going on. Always gets me fired up, kicks my butt into gear to be like, man, we should be doing a lot more. So let me share my screen here. We had quite a few, so I wasn't able to make the image very big, but here we go. So you guys should be looking at our shout outs for the week. And here's what we do. So inside the Offline Sharks Facebook group right now, there is this post with all the shout outs for the week. So if you could do us a favor, if you can go to that post in the Facebook group, just put something in the comments like, hey, congratulations, way to go. Maybe share your successes if you have some in that thread. Like the post, do all that kind of stuff. And then, Nick, I'm sure we'll probably give away some Cash App money for that towards the end of the show, right?
Yeah, you know what we'll do for this one right here? As I said, we're going to throw a little more money out there. We're going to give away about $100 worth of Cash App money just for those people that go to that post right now and congratulate, comment, congratulate everybody on that. I was going to call it a leaderboard, but it's not really a leaderboard. Just that shout out list there. Lots of people sharing information in the group, getting clients. So go there now, like the post, congratulate them, and then towards the end of the show, we'll pick out a couple Cash App winners.
Yeah, sounds good. Awesome. Well, let's go through these shout outs because there are some awesome ones on here and names I haven't seen before, which is really awesome to see as well. So our first shout out goes to Safira Vidler. She closed a social media client. It's an artisan who makes lamps from home. So not necessarily a niche I would think about going after.
Wow. That's going to be good
awesome.
with, you said lamps, right?
Yep. Lamps.
You know, that's really good because I've noticed that when I'm playing VR in my living room, I always knock shit over, especially my lamp. I'm like, right? Have you had that happen yet? I know that a lot of people do that too, because when I'm playing the game, you always hear someone like, they're like, oh, that was my lamp.
Yeah, I have done that. I have to admit. Well, congratulations, Safira. That's really awesome. And a great name too, Safira. I like that name. Yeah. Awesome. Yesterday when we were doing our private coaching call, Jacqueline was talking about, she picked up a client that is in the horse industry. And I meant to mention on that call, Jacqueline, that like the equestrian market is a big, like active market. And that market, those people, they spend money on stuff, right? So I have a friend who started a supplement company. They sell supplements to horses. And they went from zero. He started it just a little before we started Offline Sharks, Nick. And this past year, they did just over 5 million in sales of their horse supplements. So yeah, it's a hopping market. All right, let's do our next shout out goes to Dave Rodhams, my man Dave. Good to see him on here. He finished his first CCSU mailer and he shared a tip to increase the success of getting the card filled up. So that is really, really awesome. Yeah. And, I'm pretty sure it's Dave. Dave, if I have this wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it's Dave. So Dave had a business before where they did like tabletops for restaurants. And so they would go around and sell ad spaces on the tabletops. And then they have these tables made and laminated with all the ads of the restaurants under the tables. And then they would put them in the restaurant. Idea. Yeah, really clever idea. Yeah, with the pandemic and COVID and stuff like that, like it's been a little challenging. So he's been doing the CCSU mailer and having a lot of success with it. As you can see, filled his first card. So way to go, Dave. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Frank the Tank, looking cool in the sunglasses there. He landed a second website deal for a client's music editing production work. So $497. That's awesome, Frank. That's awesome. One thing I always see on these shout outs, Nick, is like the collection of the different types of businesses that everybody works with is really great to see. And it should be kind of like a reminder to everyone that it's not so much about the types of businesses that you target. Like there's so many opportunities out there. Mm-hmm. Like you don't need to be targeting the same things that everybody else is. Like it still works with a lot of other businesses, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said for going after an ideal prospect or a market that is obviously emerging and has the capital to pay you for your services. And of course, if you can help that market, there's definitely something to be said for that. But, and I know that a lot of people out there, they will tell you that, you need to 100% niche down right out of the gate. Like, I don't think that that's like the wrong strategy or incorrect. I mean, it probably works for a lot of people, but my experience has been like I wasn't really able to niche down, right? Because I needed to get like whatever client I could. Like it didn't matter if it was a roofer, it didn't matter if it was a real estate agent. Like it's kind of like you said with your favorite drink, right? Like my favorite client is my next one. So
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, while I can certainly appreciate like niching down and having that ideal customer in mind, it's not always like, it's not always what actually happens, right? But that's a good point. Like, I'm curious, what are, if anybody here with us is going after a specific industry, what are some of the industries that you guys are going after right now? Because Tom's right. I mean, that board there, it's a very well-rounded topic of industries that people and sharks are going after. And maybe they're not going after it, but that's just who comes their way. So I'm just kind of curious, like what your guys' take is, what you're going after, and getting some feedback there too.
Yeah, I think too, Nick, like, especially when you're just starting out and you're in the beginning, like, I think it's good to work with a lot of different types of clients just to get a feel for who you like to work with. Like, you may find as you're working with clients, like one specific business type is just always like one of your best clients to work with. Right. And so like, once you kind of get a feel for that kind of thing and it's something you enjoy doing and you're like, oh, I could do this specifically, then I think there can be a real strong argument for niching down and all the benefits that come from that and selling your services to that particular market. But I think it's good to test the waters, try a lot of different stuff and work with a lot of different types of clients just to get a feel for, what's out there and what's possible. And maybe you stumble on a specific niche that's not as saturated, right? One that you can really be the go-to person for. So,
or maybe even so like a service, not necessarily like a niche in terms of, you're just going after chiropractors, but you're more towards like people that just don't have a website. Like that's a niche. I mean, it could be a type of niche, right?
Yeah. Well, there's, horizontal, vertical, right? Like, and vertical can be a lot of different things. It can be a pain point they have, or it can be the type of business, right? Like there's lots of ways to verticalize a market. And so awesome. Well, great work, Frank. Great work. Our next shout out goes to Connie. Connie got her first paid premium listing for her AGM site and will produce a free testimonial video for Google reviews, social media, website, and premium listing. Nice. Way to go, Connie.
I like how you're bundling all of that together. That's
I was just gonna say
very smart.
Yeah, that's a smart tactic, and it works, right? It works. And then our friend from across the pond, Jacqueline Heath, she got 2 new clients. She got a physio. Is that physio? I said psycho. A physiotherapist. And the other is a physiotherapist for horses. That's the one I was talking about. So, it was interesting. I was talking yesterday to Jacqueline about this client. So she did a 1-hour consultation. The lady paid her for a 1-hour consultation, which a great way to bring in some revenue for clients, right? And one of the things that Jackie was saying was like, she had all these ideas and all these things she wanted to throw out there, but the client just really only wanted like 1 or 2 things, right? And when Jackie talked to her about those 1 or 2 things, the client was super happy, right? Like, and I know that that's a common problem I have, like wanting to throw everything in there, like the whole kitchen sink. And that's not always the best approach. It gets a little overwhelming, to prospects and to clients. So, staying narrowly focusing on 1, 2, maybe 3 things that they can go out and start taking action on and implementing is really valuable to potential clients. You don't have to give them everything, you just, again, 1 to 3 really actionable things that they can go out and work on and implement. And then you can come back and talk to them about the other stuff as well. Let's hear it. Whoop. That was a little sneak peek at our guest. Hope nobody saw that. I was going to make people guess. So awesome work, Jackie. It's really great to see the way you're growing and expanding and all the stuff you have going with your team. And I mean, it's really, really great.
Yeah. And I also have to sometimes kind of bite my tongue when I'm hearing stuff from prospects, especially if I'm on some sort of a sale, like maybe a sales call or maybe a potential customer, because you can also very quickly overwhelm people with everything that you know being a shark, right? Like we know a lot about all these different topics and industries, and people can get, I mean, if you just start giving them everything you got, they're gonna leave the call being like, I need to process that. So I'll get back to it, right? And that's the last thing you want. The last thing you want is for them to have to process it. What you really want is for them to be like, land on the one good idea that you can give them and be like, that sounds good. I'll have the soup of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Our final shout out goes to Maurice Alexander Lee. He's working on a basic website chatbot for a client, and he secured a second website deal, also a potential social media management client. So awesome work, Maurice. That's fantastic.
Heck yeah. I saw that one come in, and I know how he's doing his fulfillment, and I love to see that. So great job, Maurice.
Yeah. And hey, a big, can you hear that applause?
Yeah, I can hear the applause.
Yeah, cool. Just a big round of applause for all the sharks and their shout outs, all the action they've been taking, the success from last week. Again, go there, make a comment on that post, tell them good job. We're going to go through those comments and give away about $100 in Cash App money, which, Nick, we should do that now.
Here comes the money.
All right, I'm going to go to the post right now and just pick someone.
Yeah. That gets me fired up every time I hear it. I love it.
Our first Cash App winner on that post is Eric Larson. So Eric Larson, if you're here, congratulations. And throw your Cash App tag in the comments, and our team will send you some money.
Yeah, way to go, Eric. That's awesome. Should we do a Cash App question and then bring our guest on?
We can do that. What do you guys think? Can we get some likes in this? Can we get some likes in the stream before we do that?
Yeah.
I mean,
come on, people. Actually, while you're doing that, while we're getting some likes and you're getting the question ready, let me just do the real quick what Tom is reading this week, and then we can get our guest out here and we can talk some meat. That'll be awesome. So every week I do a segment on the show called What's Tom Reading? You can find all the books we recommend. You just go to offlinesharks.com/books. You'll see all the ones we have there. And this book was actually, here, I'm going to unshare my screen here. It was actually kind of a surprise to me. I didn't plan on it being the book of this week. It came in the mail and I'd set it aside and was like, I'm going to get to that whenever. And I ended up reading it in one sitting. And it's actually by the same author that we featured last week. Last week we talked about Persuasion, right? Mm-hmm. And this is also by Mark Morgan Ford. But the title of the book is called Living Rich. Okay. And, a lot of times on this show, we talk about, I talk about how when I was first starting my business, like one of the things that I think was a big shift for me into being successful was one, just being okay with where I was at and happy with my life. Right. And so this book, the subtitle of it is called How to Live as Well as a Billionaire on a Middle Class Budget. And so there's some marketing things in here about, starting a business and stuff like that. But mainly this is just about enjoying your life, right? And crafting a life that has experiences and things around you that bring you that inner fulfillment, right? To feel good, right? To feel successful, even if maybe you're not as successful as you want to be. And so there is a ton of great stuff in this book. Like there's sections on, it's mainly pulled from a letter they did called the Palm Beach Letter, which was like a paid thing. But there's all things about like spending wisely. There's stuff about ways to look at buying a home and the investment that takes, right? One of the big things in here, he talks about the, thinking about things, not just about what they cost, but also about the cost that it takes to upkeep those things, right? Like, when you're buying a house, it's not just what your monthly payment's going to be. Like there's also going to be repairs and things that you have to do. And so he really gives a good strategy for how to factor those things in to see if what you're looking to buy or invest in is really going to be a good deal. So the first part is all about these different things. It's about like houses, it's about cars, it's about he calls it the rich man's house, the rich man's car, the rich man's bed, right? And I found those articles really, really insightful. Like they opened my eyes to a few things. The rich man's wine cellar, the rich man's meal, all this stuff. Just again about how to all these things that you're doing anyway, right? How to just get more fulfillment out of them. And then in the second chapter or the second part of the book, it's all about developing a rich mind, right? And talking about, he's got like buying happiness, discovering value and purpose, life's trickiest trade-off, all these things, and then there's some things like richness from art, richness from music, richness from reading, and richness from movies. So this book I thought was a really, really great read, and highly recommend it. You can pick it up on Amazon. I think it's only like $20. Nice hardback book, not thick. So, I mean, I went through it in one sitting. You can probably get through it pretty quick too. But Living Rich, that's our book of the week. I would recommend you guys go check it out.
That sounds like a really good book.
It is. It was really good. And it's interesting too, to hear somebody who has a company that does over $1 billion talk about that, even when he was making all this money, like buying a lot of expensive things didn't make him any happier. Like it just didn't do what he thought it was going to do. And so that book is really like his thought process after going through that about how, like, look, you don't have to get there to enjoy those things. You can do it on pretty much any budget, any place that you're currently at, you can enjoy a rich life. And I think that's just a great message for people.
It's a lot of mindset, really, is what it comes down to, right?
Yeah. And making smart choices, right?
Yeah.
Thinking about things realistically, making reasoned choices, not just, hey, I can, so I will, or, feeling left out because you can't, that type of stuff. So, yeah.
Makes sense. All right, you guys, you ready to do a Cash App giveaway, and then we'll bring on our guest? The delay in the comments is so funny when you ask a question.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do it, you guys. You know that on these streams and all of our live trainings, our webinars, our events, I mean, we always like to hook everybody up in our community. Sometimes we do giveaways of courses and past products, and I mean, most of the time it's just flat out money, So you want to attend our trainings, show up. Usually we do something the beginning, the middle, the end. Basically the way it works for everybody that's new is I'm going to ask a question, and the first person to get it right in the chat box, we just throw you some Cash App money or PayPal if you're out of the country, or whatever works for you. So the question is that I have for everybody today, it's a good one. I don't think we've ever asked a question like this before. So we have a pretty massive team behind Offline Sharks. I was just thinking about this morning. We have a pretty massive team, and it's pretty crazy how fast we've grown. And one of the main members of our team, I mean, everybody's got a pivotal role, but we have somebody behind the scenes. So if you could give us the first and last name of our operations manager, you will be a Cash App winner. So first
and last name, and that person.
Got the answer. I don't even think that's fair. But Gabriel, I'm gonna give you some Cash App money just because you were. That was a great guess. The
second one too. And while you're finding the second one, I can play this again.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
Is that what they do at the end of those songs? Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Our guest in the background is like, these two are freaking crazy.
Yeah,
like, they've gone insane. What did I sign up for?
Yeah. Our second winner is Wes Amon.
Awesome. Congratulations, Wes.
Congrats, Wes. If you could stick your cash tag into the comments, we will send you some Cash App money as well. And we're gonna do another one, a couple more at the end of this stream around top of the hour. So stick around, you guys. And now let's talk about our special guest.
I saw a lot of people that said they were on the training that we did this past week, which was an awesome training. And our guest was actually the presenter on that training. And so, we've known him for a long time. I've known him long before he knew me. That's the way to say it, right? So
You've
really
probably known him longer than you've known me.
Probably so. Probably so. Crazy. So let's bring on our special guest. Welcome to the Aloha Friday Marketing Jam Session, Mr. Mike Cooch.
Hey guys, I'm super excited to be here, man. You guys are having fun. I love this. I want some of that
Every
money.
Friday, just a party.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for having me here. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
welcome.
excited to have you on board.
Yeah, I mean, that
Excited.
training we had the other day was fantastic, Mike. I mean, you dropped some amazing information. I know we've had a lot of good questions come in the community, in the Facebook group, and our support desk, and a lot of really good feedback. Tons of people joined. I think, one of the things that I was curious about is just to like help people to hear just a little bit more about like where you started. Like, how did you get into all this? Like, where did you start? Because you've been doing this for a little while now, right?
Yeah, a little while. Yeah, I'm the old guy for sure. Yeah, cool. Well, I'll try and keep it the condensed version here, at least at first, and happy to answer any questions. But I moved to Silicon Valley when I was like right out of undergrad, and that was like the first leading up to the first .com boom. And so everybody they were like it was crazy. I mean, the fever, right? You had to be a part of it. And I already knew like what an entrepreneur was and thought I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But then I got in that environment and I was like, oh, I can't do anything else now. Like I'm caught up in this whole thing. So that long story short, I ended up starting an IT service provider selling to small businesses. So we provided IT management services. And I ran that for close to 10 years, grew it, real good size team and everything like that. And then ended up selling that to a much larger business. And right before I sold that, I started a division in the company where we were doing marketing services. We had built our business largely by doing Google AdWords. And so we were getting a bunch of our customers coming to us and saying, hey, you guys know about this online stuff, And so we started doing, websites and ad management and stuff like that. And then so when I sold Everon, I had already started. It was pretty cool. I wish I had, Tom, you mentioned the video in our training, but I wish I had more video because this is this building in Colorado. And the first floor of the building was Everon. And the third floor of the building was Kutenda. And I had 50 employees down here and about 30 employees up there. It was freaking nuts. And so
Wow.
I would run up and down for the last year of that business. I was still in Everon. And I was running up and down between the two floors, running the two businesses. And so Kutenda was a marketing services platform and service provider specifically for the IT services industry, because that was the industry I was in. I knew it. I knew how to market. I knew how to sell. So I launched this for them. And then that got me to now where I'm at. Long story short, again, I'm in San Diego. I love the local space. I love media. And I'm a big believer in trying to have assets, not just deliver services, right? So the asset that I've created here in San Diego is there, San Diego, and my newsletter and all that good stuff. And that's where we are.
That's awesome. You said something when you were just talking there that I think is worth pointing out. And that was like, so you're doing this other business of providing this IT service management, but because people saw what you were doing with Google AdWords and the online stuff, like they started coming to you because they're like, hey, you know how to do this, right? And that's something that we actually teach a lot in Offline Sharks, especially with our agency growth machine system, right? When you're doing things like the influencer sites and talking about like what we talked about on the training with the strategies and things you're doing there, when people see you doing that stuff, it instantly gives you the credibility and authority, because if you wouldn't be doing it if you didn't know how, right? And so it solves that, it closes that loop that so many people struggle with, of where, well, I reach out to people, but then they want to know who I worked with and they want to know this. Like, if you can implement some of that stuff for your business and provided it like as a value added service to people, people notice that and go, oh, this person knows what they're doing, you know, like, and they don't ask those questions of like, who have you worked for and all that stuff, because they can see for themselves, right?
And it's so important that the best way to sell and make all of this growth thing easier is to be active out there, to be the proof, to demonstrate. I mean, you look at all the way from, you know, Gary Vee. How did Gary Vee build his agency? Gary Vee built his agency because people saw him all over the internet and were like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, right? And that goes all the way down to us in our local markets. The best way to build your business is to be out there in the marketplace. Show them that you know what you're doing. And there's nothing. I haven't been asked for a reference or a testimonial in I don't know how long. I mean, honestly, like in my sales process, because look, you can see everything I'm doing, and it's all out there. You can see that I know what I'm doing. That's the best way to take all of that friction out of the sales process.
Yeah, I totally agree. Nick did a great job of that too, with just the SEO of his own agency site, right? I mean, that brought in so many leads, and just people, just instantly they know, like, oh, if I search this and he's number one, like he must know what he's doing.
Well, I think you've got to do something, right? That's what's, I mean, for certain, you have to do something. And that became clear to me, like, when Tom and I started to work together, like, Tom has his own agency, I have my own agency. We were introduced through a friend, had some coffee, started kind of collaborating on projects and just kind of masterminding right here. I mean, there's not a lot of people doing what we're doing in our area. So we kind of, thought to strategize a little bit. And one thing I noticed is that Tom always had a lot more clients than me. He always had a lot more clients than me. And it was because he was out there putting himself out there a lot more than I was. Right. And that's what I mean. For certain, you need to do something, because if you're not doing something, whether it's ranking your website or running an ad or going to a networking meeting or talking to people, even if it's like one-to-one when you're just getting started, you're never going to get anybody as a customer. So,
or utilizing media, like Mike showed on the training, like utilizing media, being, using your exposure to help other people get exposure, all those things, everything we talked about in the training. I mean, that all ties right into that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's to me, it's two things. It's activity, like you just said, Nick, and it's a point of view. Like if you put any message out there, but message that you believe in, or you just got your angle to it, it creates reaction, and reaction is what you want in the marketplace, right? That reaction is attention, and so that could be me as an expert, getting on here and doing something like this and sharing my points of view. Like it's going to get a reaction from you. You either agree with me or you don't agree with me, but I have a point of view. And then in my content, like in my media content, it's the same thing. I'm coming up with a topic and I'm putting that content out there, or I'm finding some good content and I'm sharing it and adding my perspective and opinion to it. And when you do that, it creates a response. And that's the first thing that we're all looking for in our marketing, is a response, so that somebody engages and gets into our sales process. So yeah, it's just activity and point of view, and put it out there.
So true. So true. And you had some I'm not going to give away all the information, you guys. If you guys haven't seen that training after this live, you'll definitely want to go check it out. But Mike had some really, really great strategies as far as how to, what's the word for it? Just leverage. Oh, I'll use that word, Mike. Leverage what you're doing. Mike's got a company called Leverage, so works out well. I see why you did that there. Leverage what you're doing, right? So like when you're just getting started, you're out there talking to people. Hey, my name's Nick. I'm building websites. Can I help you? Or I'm doing, whatever it is. But that's really just like a one-on-one conversation, right? You have to, every time you need to sell something, you have to go out there and make that situation kind of happen again, right? You have to go out there and talk to people one-on-one, and it kind of sucks. It really sucks, actually. So you have to figure out how to leverage your time and speak to, something like a one-to-many process. Maybe can you kind of tell people a little bit more about that kind of one-to-many strategy that you're doing with your site and your business?
Yeah. I mean, you're exactly right. I think all of us right now we're crazy in business if we're not taking advantage of leverage in using content and distribution to reach as many people as we can in our markets, right? I mean, it's pretty crazy that anybody would think about business without leveraging those things at this point. So by putting content out there and by putting and by taking advantage of distribution, right, which is email addresses, SMS addresses, Facebook ads, whatever it is, I'm getting my message to more people at scale without having to increase my effort in any way at all. And that's, you talked about enjoying life in that book, Tom, which I love the sound of that book. That really resonates with me. Anything that we can do to get more results without increasing our effort, that's leverage, and that is something that we should all be looking for. So yeah, I mean, I am, building up my list of local, people here in my community that I can communicate with and share my content with all the time. And that gives me then the ability to help businesses get their message out in the marketplace. I've developed a channel that I can use to help promote, businesses in the marketplace. And that makes everything easier. Like we talked about on that presentation, and it kind of touched on the same thing here right now. It's like if you want an easy way to get a ton of confidence in selling your services, have something that you've built that you can point to that thing instead of just pointing to you. I know a lot of people have imposter syndrome, and it's hard to go and say, hey, I'm the expert, I'm the guru that can help you. And if you're just kind of getting started and stuff, that's really hard, because maybe you're not the expert or the guru, right? You haven't had a lot of experience. But when you have something that you can point to and you can say, hey, look, I've got 30,000 people that read this every month, and I can put your business in that thing to get those eyeballs on your business. You're not talking about you. You're not talking about your expertise and you being a guru. You're talking about this thing. Right. And that just makes it so much easier to sell. It just gives you so much more confidence. It really makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think the other thing that I think is so smart about what you're doing is, again, and we talk about this a lot enough on Sharks, like you're starting at the local level. Like this idea that most people have, that to do something worthwhile and to get the results you want, that you have to be some big national thing, like you always have to be focusing on something big, I think is kind of a myth. It's like, no, you can be super successful just focusing on one little area, and it doesn't even have to be a big area. But if you become that kind of little local celebrity, right, that person that can make things happen, the connector, right, like a person that's a connector is always going to be able to make money, right? Because that's what they do, right? Like people who have things that they want to get out there, they're going to look out the connector. And if they hear there's a connector in the area, like they're going to find you. Like you're not going to have to go hunt them down. And then you have that two-way street, right? Like you're giving value, you're connecting people, you feel good about it. Plus your thing is growing as a result of that.
That's right. Yeah. And it is really important. It doesn't matter if your market is big or small. I mean, you can be the big fish in a small pond, which is great. I mean, if you live in a town of 60,000 people, but you've got the attention of those 60,000 people because of what you're doing, that's awesome. I mean, there will be a tremendous amount of benefits to that in your market. And in a market like San Diego, which is much bigger, you could argue it's harder for me to get the attention because it is a much bigger market. There's more competition there and stuff like that, but it's still awesome. I mean, I still have tens of thousands of people that I can reach out to and communicate with easily. And that has just tremendous benefits. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point you made there because, there's a lot of, you always hear, like a book that people talk about all the time is like blue ocean strategy, finding a blue ocean. Like, you don't really need a blue ocean. You just need a clean little pond. Like a clean little pond, a small little pond can make you a lot of money and bring you for most people, like the type of life they want to live. Right. Because as you grow big, there's other things that come along with that. Right. Like, and I think for most people that are trying to do what we're doing with the local agency and stuff like that, even if you had something that was really big, I don't know that you would probably enjoy it like you think you would. You probably much more enjoy focusing on a smaller thing and just, being in that smaller area and what that can allow you to do.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
we're,
there's a
I
reason
think we're,
why. Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, I think we're a couple things. Number one, I think Tom and I are a great example of and I mean this to sound weird, but just because of where we live, having this small market, right, and being the bigger fish in a small pond, like I think that's sort of happened. But we didn't start there, right? We started out as the little guy, so let's keep that in the forefront of everything. We started as a little guy and we got bigger, right? We gradually progressed. So even if you're the little guy just starting out in the small pond, there's still plenty of opportunity. So that's what I want to say about that. But also, Tom, it's funny because what you said about eventually getting bigger to this point where you're kind of rethinking how much bigger do we really want to get, because we're also faced with that pretty regularly now, where Tom and I never thought that we'd have these businesses that are the way they are now. And I'm sure it was the way with Mike with your multi-floored skyscraper or wherever you were working. I mean, like you're probably one day you're there and you're like, holy crap. Like, I think we should
What did
stop.
I get myself into?
This is too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And there's a reason why I don't have that stuff right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it really is because it comes with, with trade-offs and stuff. And I think the amazing thing about entrepreneurship, and particularly in the time that we live in right now, is you all get to choose. You all get to choose what's right for you. And there was a time, I mean, I'm old enough, that there was a time when if you wanted to build anything that had the chance of making you like good money, like you had to have a bunch of employees and all that type of stuff. You had to have that overhead. Now you really don't. The leverage that we have is incredible right now with the ability to run ads, the ability to communicate via social media, like all these things that give us distribution of our ideas to people without having to have a bunch of infrastructure and overhead. I mean, this is the golden age of entrepreneurship, I'm convinced. And so you don't have to do that. You want to run something a bit smaller and just have a real nice, profitable business, a nice lifestyle. That's awesome. And if you have bigger ambitions and that requires you to build up something bigger, that's awesome too. Do your thing. I saw a comment though. Somebody was asking like, how do you differentiate in your market when there's these other things that are already out there? And I think it's real important, no matter what you're doing, to realize like how many of you are subscribed to like one newsletter? I mean, and it's a rhetorical question because I know none of you are subscribed to one newsletter. You're subscribed to all kinds of newsletters, and you follow all kinds of people on Instagram, and you follow all kinds of people on Facebook and podcasts, and whatever it is. The most important thing that you can do is just be authentic and just share your views. And there's going to be a whole bunch of people out there that resonate with your views and the way that you put together content and the messages that you have to say. And you will build up an audience of people who tune into that. Like it's, it's almost, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. It's like competition in some of this stuff. It barely, I don't know. I hate to say it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but the reality is people tune in to all kinds of different channels and all kinds of different people and perspectives, even on the same topics.
Yeah. They do. They do. There's so much information out there about all of the same stuff, right? And people just latch on to different things, different people, different personas. Some people like video, some people like just reading, some people like images. That's why we use YouTube, we use Instagram, we use Facebook, we use email marketing, because these are all different modalities that people are receptive towards. So we've got a little bit of time left, you guys. I know that there are some questions from people here. If you guys have any more questions for Mike or us, or maybe about the training that we did just the other day, maybe if you guys could put those in the comments, that way we can get some of those answered. Did you see any, Tom, that
I saw so Jacqueline asked, what do you do first, Mike, when you have no subscribers and you want to build up a following of your clients' customers?
Oh man, wait, let me interrupt. Mike had an incredible way to do that with the bait that he was talking about. And it's like literally right in front of all of our eyes, right? The way that he is building his audience, like just using the proper bait on that training. So, if you guys haven't seen that part of the training, you definitely want to go with that. But sorry, Mike, I didn't want to interrupt. That was one of my favorite parts of the training. That's
yeah. By the way, you guys can watch the training. You just go to offlinesharks.com/P5FF. But do that after we're done. We're not going to be here that much longer. So, all right, Mike, that's all you.
Oh yeah, well, Doran mentioned the answer there. Yeah, giveaways, and I get into that more in the presentation for sure. But yeah, that's a super effective strategy, and there's a handful of things that I cover there in the training about how to do that and make it pay for itself right away. But that's the gist of the strategy, and you will build an audience and build a list very, very quickly.
Yeah, this is funny. Somebody said Mike's not overwhelmed by us. He was live with Billie Jean. Yeah.
It's funny. Mike actually took us to Billie Jean's office when we were with him in San Diego. That place is crazy.
It was really awesome. Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah. He cracks me up, man. He's always entertaining.
Yeah. We were all standing out in front of his office, and he pulls up in that white Lamborghini. Remember, he was like, "Oh, just showing up for the meeting."
I'm black.
Yeah. His ads on that thing are amazing.
So funny. Let's see. I'm trying to look through here. Here's one from Pamela. So Pamela says, Mike, when you are first building your subscriber list for your newsletter, do you visit local businesses in person just to show them the newsletter opportunity, or is it all online?
All online. Yeah. For me personally, I'm not saying that you couldn't do that, and that there wouldn't be benefit from doing it. I'm just saying for me, it's all online. I visit businesses for fun, and so one of the best things about this strategy is that you will get invited to every business. You'll get invited to every event. You'll get invited to go eat at every restaurant. And so I do that all the time. But I'm doing that just for fun and enjoyment. And when I do, I'm always taking pictures there, right? For Instagram and stuff like that, and for the newsletter. And then using that. And that's the easiest way to prospect in the world. Again, it's just activity. There's that Mike guy again, running around town, visiting restaurants and all that type of stuff and taking pictures. And when you do that, and you're tagging those, or mention them in your newsletter, then that gets you just tons of momentum and visibility. But I don't do that as a prospecting means in any way. I just go to the places that I want to go to and enjoy, and take those pictures and tag people, and it all works.
I think that's a great point that you bring up there too, because I've often told people, like, some of my best connections I've made with clients were at events that I just went to on my own. Like, most of them were like fundraiser type events that I thought, oh, this is a good cause, I wanted to go support it. Like, there's one here in Maui that's like for our local theater. I've done some like fundraising car washes and stuff. And like, I've made some of my best business connections at those events, because typically at those types of events are just everybody there is a business owner. Like, they're there doing the same thing, supporting a good cause. And you just get to build those relationships without having to talk about what you're like. Everybody always asks you, oh, what do you do? what's your business? Like it, I mean, it's like there's no hard sell or anything needed. So I mean, it's such a great strategy.
I think the best thing about the media strategy is that there is no need to you should just be out there just sharing what you find interesting about the marketplace. What's going on in your community that is interesting. You don't need to only share stuff because you think it's going to get you a deal or you're going to get paid for it or anything like that. In fact, opposite of that, just share what you think is interesting and will get attention. And when you do that, it will naturally lead to deals. So you take away a lot of that sales pressure from the whole process, to be honest.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mark, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking there. So Mike has kind of built up his own little company there in San Diego, just doing media exposure, basically, right? Like he's got a following, he's got people out there, and he connects business owners with them, and he's turning that into clients and revenue. So
I think that's a great question to ask everybody, right? Who here on this call has or needs more people coming to them for business? Because we talk a lot about doing outbound prospecting, right? And it's, it works well, of course, but it's nice to have the ability to have some doorways open to your business too, where people can come to you, right? When you can, if you're the type of person that, you don't like to go out and do that type of prospecting, if you can create some sort of an asset, like with what Mike is doing or what we're doing with AGM. I also shot a video on how you can compare or add the two together and really bolt those two strategies together because they work really, really well together, which is what we're doing here. But you have an asset so that people can find you, right? People can find you and people want to come to you, which totally changes the dynamics of your prospecting and your sales. And I mean, just overall quality of life, in my opinion, when you don't have to always go out there and look for business each time you need to, pay your bills or you're working towards a financial goal and those things are kind of coming your way into your circle of influence. I mean, and I see all the comments coming in, right? All of us, hell yeah, I do, always looking for, so for those of you that did respond to that, I think what you need to do is open up that link in another tab right now and, just save it for, we're going to end here in about 5 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to announce 5 other Cash App winners here and you can watch that training in a minute.
Yeah, I mean the training was phenomenal. Like you guys are gonna love it. Like so many things you can take away and start implementing right away, and it was awesome. Cool.
Yeah,
I don't see any other questions. Oh, let's see. Here's one. Let's see, Mike, have you tried radio interviews? I used to interview people like yourself on my show. If you're on the radio, it's true.
It's interesting. I have not. What is starting to grow in real popularity, and I don't know if you guys do this or not, but local podcasts are really starting to take off. It's something that I haven't created yet, but I should. And because there's a lot of people tuning into local podcasts now, and that's got a lot of momentum. I'm sure local Clubhouse will have a similar opportunity.
Right. Well, man, Mike, thanks so much for joining us, man. We really appreciate your time. I mean, it's always a fun time hanging out with you, especially in San Diego. Diego.
I can't wait to have you guys back. And thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody for letting me be here and your questions and of course tuning into the training and all that good stuff. I always appreciate it and love the opportunity to be here. So thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Awesome.
All right, I'll let you guys do your thing, give away the money, and have some fun. And have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah,
take care, Mike.
You too. Talk to you later, man.
All right. Everyone.
Man, it's an awesome training, you guys. You're gonna want to go check it out. So you got the link on the screen. Open up another tab. And then I'm going to make it easy on you guys. I'm going to make it really easy on you guys for these next 5 Cash App winners. So what I did, I put a little comment into the community Slack channel in our team, and I had them pull 5 names at random off of the post congratulating the shout outs of our shark shout outs this week. So I have 5 people. There's a list in our Slack channel as well. I'm just going to announce the names. So if you are one of these 5 people, we're going to send you some Cash App money. So Zach Rivera, Allison Savvy, Mark Jarvis, Brad Dickey, and Don Stevens. You guys are all going to get some Cash App money.
Yeah, congratulations, everybody. That's awesome. Cool. And our team will reach out to you too if you don't reach out to them, I'm sure, to make sure we get you squared away. So awesome.
Yes,
well, man, another fantastic Aloha Friday marketing jam session. Really appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with us, all the great interaction, being so welcoming to the guests we bring on the show. It's really awesome to, like, I don't know about you, Nick, but I actually look forward to when we can bring people on the show, because I want them to see what our community's doing. Like, I like to show it off, right? Like, it's just so awesome what you guys do every week, how you show up, all that stuff. And we really, really appreciate it. And if you want to check out Mike's training, go to offlinesharks.com/P5FF. Oh, we have one more thing we have to do.
I was just going to say it.
Forgot. The member of the week. Oh, we can't forget our member of the week. Hold on, I saw this one on here and I thought it was great. Let me find him here. Awesome.
Yeah,
so every week we recognize a member of the week, somebody who's really been like tearing it up in the Facebook group, sharing value, helping people out, doing all that stuff. And we give them some special Offline Sharks prizes. And Nick, I'll share my screen, but do you want to announce the member of the week?
Sure. I know who it is. Maurice. Congratulations, Maurice.
Congratulations, Maurice.
And thank you for, helping everybody out. And congratulations on your win this week. If you guys could tag Maurice and congratulate him, that'd be awesome. We always appreciate everybody that shares their wins and their success with us and helps everybody out in the community. And Maurice was a great example of that this week. So thank you, Maurice.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome, Maurice. Well, guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Stay safe out there. Practice Aloha. We will see you here next Friday on our next Aloha Friday Marketing Jam session. It'll be a lot more fun. They're all fun, right? We're going to have more fun. We're going to share more things, more value, more tips. And we'll see you guys next Friday.
You've been listening to the Sharks Live Show, your weekly local marketing jam session. Every week, packed full of local marketing strategy, tactics, tips, and fun. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube and Tom's podcast at tomgaddis.com. We'll be back here next Friday for another Sharks Live Show. Until then,